You can refer. And just so you know, the recording, if you don't want your name to be visible or if you have a question to ask, you can just send me a private message in chat and I will ask the question of the presenter. So as for all of that business is taken care of, I'd like to present Dani Martinez. She is from the Office of Health Informatics and Analytics. And we're so excited to have her here today to talk about ULEAD. So take it away, Dani.
Great, thank you. Yes, hi, I'm Danielle or Dani Martinez. I am the manager of the OHIA product management team. And one of the products that our team manages is ULEAD. ULEAD stands for Unified Learning Environment for Analytics and Data. I'm going to go ahead and share my presentation now. So many of you might have heard of it before, but might not have more details really on what is ULEAD. So I'll be going into that in this presentation. So ULEAD essentially is a pre-configured virtual environment within the cloud. We have the capability to install different tools, software, and compute, along with different storage requirements that are needed for different kinds of projects that span both across the healthcare analytics space and the research space. We also have the ability to have PHI or protected health information and restricted information within this environment because it is HIPAA compliant and it is secure. We do also support additional research use cases that might need enhanced type of compute like GPUs or high performance compute, also known as HPC. So those are all some possibilities that are available within ULEAD. So some of the key points here on the vision and kind of why we went with ULEAD and the history behind it here. We were really looking for a secure environment where folks can do analysis in a secure place within UCLA that was HIPAA compliant and that was adhering to all of the compliance policies that have been required by our compliance department. We needed to also support a scalable environment. So we needed to be able to spin up additional compute, spin up additional software and applications that are being used by users within the organization. We also wanted to have one single unified environment for both the access to data, the analytics work, and the compute. And then specifically for the researchers, this did also allow us to have a faster data approval. So it reduced the time for IRB approvals because compliance already knew that the data was going to be provisioned within ULEAD, and therefore it was a safe and secure environment. And so that does reduce the turnaround time and all of the compliance steps required in some of those IRB requests. So some of the users that we have currently include both sides of the house, so researchers, data scientists, our biostatisticians, and then we also have analysts and administrators from the UCLA health side as well. So everyone consuming OHIA products will be using ULEAD, and the majority of folks are already in ULEAD, and we will continue to onboard the rest of the folks within ULEAD as well. So just to give you a little bit of an evolution of the ULEAD platform, we initially started with our XDR desktop platform, and that was primarily the platform that folks were getting access to that was available. This is probably about 6-7 years ago now. So definitely we outgrew that environment. We've built out as well within that same platform, Citrix Desktop. We have our Tableau environment. This actually was more of a secure environment. This was an environment that was built out specifically with requirements from compliance, where we had to really, really lock down this environment. So this kind of was the blueprint eventually for ULEAD. As we started to outgrow these environments, we increased our user capacity with the on-premise VDIs, and so there was a small set of folks that were leveraging those VDIs. And then as we started to expand the different roles and expand supporting the research environment, the research IRB use cases, we started implementing ULEAD. And so definitely ULEAD has been an evolution. We've taken some pieces of the capabilities and some of the security requirements from the legacy environments into ULEAD. So it does allow us to have an enhanced user experience. It is cloud-based, does have enhanced research support, and we also are able to bring, as I mentioned, scale. So we're able to bring in different types of software and make different types of computing and storage that is required by different use cases available more easily. So this infographic goes into a little bit more of the features of ULEAD. So as I mentioned, we do have a wide array of users that access ULEAD. We do have a capability where you can bring your own data into the environment. We can also allow you to collaborate between multiple teams. So if you have a different research group that you're working with that you want to collaborate with, there are ways to create separate folders and file shares within the environment to allow you to collaborate and share just what is required for those particular projects. As I mentioned, we also have that expedited honest broker workflow through CTSI, so you can gain access to sensitive data. You are able to connect to all of the OHIA analytics ready data sets. So all of those are accessible from within this environment. And we do have the availability to get our risk assessments fast-tracked because they are in this environment, similar to kind of the situation with the honest broker process. We are able to spin up compute and storage requirements for those different use cases more easily because it is in this within ULEAD. It does also connect seamlessly to published applications. We also do have Windows and Linux-based virtual desktops if those are required for any kind of more complex use cases or certain types of licensed software. And we do allow you to bring your own licenses. So if you have a specific application where you have a license already and want to be able to use that in ULEAD, we are able to install that as well. This slide kind of highlights some of the security around ULEAD, and this is what makes us have the ability to kind of go through and have streamlined processes with compliance and risk. Because of the fact that we do have that dual authentication, it is HIPAA compliant, we have logging, it is pre-scanning approved software so that we can mitigate any malicious data, code, and applications. It is a secure enclave. So these are some of the things that are requirements for compliance. So it does allow us to more easily onboard folks into the environment and provide them access to the data when they're being when needing to go through compliance approvals and compliance and IT security, risk assessment. Here are some of the restrictions as part of those security requirements. So part of that last slide that I showed, we needed to enable this in order to adhere to those requirements by compliance and our risk teams. So we do have some limitations here. specifically, the internet access is not allowed. There is some very limited sites that aren't enabled, but the just access to the open internet is not allowed. We also do not let folks have email within the environment because it allows you to kind of exfiltrate data. Same as with the internet access. You also cannot copy and paste from ULEAD to outside of the environment. You can copy and paste into ULEAD, but you cannot copy and paste out. So that's another requirement as part of trying to manage any data being lost out of the environment. We do have limited access to certain virtual machines and servers, so those that are approved to be accessible within ULEAD are enabled there. There is not any access to Box. There is not any access to your home directory or network drives, and you only have access to those ULEAD folders within this environment. So just some of the key features that I highlighted, but also just kind of summarized here is you have access to sensitive data quickly through that streamlined honest broker process. You're able to access those analytical ready data sets that include PHI. You can create custom data solutions within the environment. You can bring your own data while making sure you're maintaining privacy and confidentiality standards. And you can also export and import files within the environment through our automated file transfer process. There is some steps to just attest to exporting, and there is a 2 gig limit on that automated file transfer process. So if there's anything that needs to be exported larger than 2 gigs, our team can help with that. Here's just a snapshot of some of the applications. This isn't the full exhaustive list, but just the good chunk of the majority of applications that folks use within the environment. So your standard Microsoft applications like Access, Excel, Word, all of those are accessible. We do also have GitHub, as well as Jupyter Notebook, PyCharm, R, Studio. So just this is just we're continuing to add applications, so we can find the full application list on our website if you ever need to look to see what is currently available. That is on our website, and I will show you the links to where that is accessible. And then lastly, here is just some information on user support. So any new application requests will be routed over to my team, the OHIA Self-Service Analytics team. So you can submit those requests there. Any kind of applications that would require folks to have a license, you would need to give that information to us as well in order to be able to install it. We do also have office hours 2 times a week, so Monday mornings and Friday afternoons. We have the dates and times and Zoom links on our website. If you click on this link here, it'll give you the link to our ULEAD website. I have some links here as well to some of our ULEAD demo, our user guide, the application catalog that I mentioned, the FAQ page, and our published release notes. So those just detail out what we've released recently within the ULEAD environment. And then our team can also be contacted through this ULEAD support team email, which is just uleadsupport@mednet.ucla.edu. That was all of the slides. Did anyone have any questions?
Thanks so much, Danielle. So I have a question about who can access ULEAD, who can use ULEAD, because when I was first trying to get a hold of your team, I emailed the MedNet email and it bounced back saying we don't receive emails outside of UCLA Health, and I'm on campus. So to talk a little bit about who can access this. If you'd be so kind.
All of our like clinical and folks within the UCLA health system side, all those folks, this is something that they are using to do their, analytics for their day-to-day work. So those folks definitely are a pretty good, significant group of users. But we do also have folks that are doing research that are getting provision access through through the honest broker process through CTSI, and so those folks can also get access through that process. Sandy Grinder's team typically facilitates that process, and then will assist with getting the correct accounts if people need access to ULEAD as part of that IRB. But yeah, typically it's going to just be those groups for now.
Great, thank you. We have a question in the chat. Is there a user cost associated for research projects?
So for our what we call kind of like our base offering, there is no cost for that base offering. So for the standard applications and just getting access to potentially data sets that are being provisioned by CTSI, there is no cost. There could be costs incurred if you need to have a more complex compute requirements. So if you need a GPU or an HPC, those would require a cost. We have some folks on the team that can help with providing estimates for what those costs would be if someone was interested.
Thank you so much. Does anyone else have a question? I don't see anything else in chat. You're welcome to unmute yourself if you have a question to ask. Yeah. Okay. I have a few more. So, you mentioned that the ULEAD environment is sort of a self-contained universe in which there can be PHI as part of the data that you see. So it looked like from one of your slides that people can do their analysis in like SAS or SPSS within the environment. So they could pull a data set in, do an analysis, and then they could export the findings of that analysis. Is that right?
Yeah, I think there are some. So yes, people can do that. Based on your IRB, there might be some specifics around the export of data. Mm-hmm. So typically, as long as you're not exporting PHI, it is fine to kind of export results and kind of images and some of that information is generally fine. But if you're trying to kind of just export all of the PHI data that has been provisioned to you, typically that is not allowed. There usually will be some, we'll collaborate with CTSI to see if there's any specifics in a person's data use agreement that they sign with CTSI to see if there's any restrictions, because sometimes I think there's some use cases where there's like external collaborators, they're not allowed to have the ability to export through that file transfer automated process. So those requests need to be reviewed by CTSI before they're removed. But yeah, generally, if you just need to export some summary findings, that is allowed through that automated file transfer process.
Okay, so so I was going to ask how do you export it if it's a self-contained universe, but that's clear now. Does this trigger any questions for anyone else? Sounds like a lot of times the honest broker process with CTSI is sort of the gateway into using ULEAD. And that's great. And it sounds like you collaborate with CTSI a lot. So wonderful. Can't think of any other questions. But it's so I guess if anyone wanted to get started, maybe the first step would be to talk to the bioinformatics program at CTSI to show them your IRB application that's been approved and move forward with getting data through ULEAD or through an honest broker process or through whatever. So Wonderful. Okay, well, thank you so much, Danny.
Welcome.
Any other questions before we call it call it time? No? All right. Well, thank you so much and really appreciate you coming in and telling us.